Welcome to the show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host, and thank you for downloading today's episode. We're going to be talking about raising the frequency of the planet today, and I have on Michael Neeley. This is actually an episode that aired on Consciously Speaking, one of Michael's podcasts, back in January, I believe. We might have maybe made it at the end of December, but most likely it was published in January. And I am republishing it here now because we started a group called Hive, Harnessing Integral Vibrational Energy. And it was Michael's attempt and my wanting to help out with the mission to get people on board to raise the frequency of the planet. And so you'll hear more about what inspired him, how it's based on, how we're delivering it, and invite you to join us for $1 for the first month to try it out. And if it's not of interest to you, then again, just remember that we're aiming for getting more people collectively, of course, to raise their own frequency and vibration, which will impact everybody else on the planet as well. We need to be part of the solution. So there are some references made to sort of past things. I know that it's way later. It's like 6 months after this was originally aired. But one of the things that got me inspired to share it was because he and I have been running the Hive group now for 6 months or 5 months. And we have these twice a month meetings and these awesome meditations and visualizations and experiences and now coming on guest speakers. And so I just kept thinking, I haven't really invited you guys on. And a lot of you have done my manifestation challenge. And it made me think, well, if you've done the manifestation challenge, you're probably thinking, well, now what? Where is there another place that I can get accountability in between manifestation challenges? Because I don't run them every month, and they're going to be pared down to possibly 3 or 4 a year. And what's there to offer you in between those times? And Hive is what there is. And I haven't talked about it too much, so I wanted to share more information about it. So if none of this works for you as something that you might be interested in participating in, again, just remember that the whole goal of my show, the goal of Consciously Speaking with Michael Neeley, and hopefully with some of you, is to not only get us as individuals into our highest frequency and alignment with who we really are, but that's also to make a difference for everybody. So it's not as selfish as some people might think, that when you concentrate on how you feel and you being in alignment and being as pure and as grounded as possible, you become so powerful at being able to influence so many other things, so much more so than when you're out of alignment and when you're in a negative state. So if you'd like to join us and you want to check out more about this group and what I'm talking about, you can go to jjflazanes.com/hive. That's HIVE. Again, that's jjflazanes.com/hive, HIVE. I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Hello, Conscious Explorers. Welcome to your sweet spot for mindful awareness and waking up. I'm your host, Michael Neeley, and you're listening to a uniquely different episode of Consciously Speaking because I have my guest here with me live today, and it is my dear pal, JJ Flazanes. Say hello, JJ.
Hello, JJ.
Why does?
And just like you.
Exactly. Now I want to talk about, and I think it segues nicely from what you're mentioning with the energetic levels of your event and what some of your experts there will be talking about. JJ and I have just over the last, this started brewing with me about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks. And then it started to take more shape. And then in talking with JJ about it, it's like, oh, this is a perfect partnership on this. And so one of the things that I've been thinking of creating for quite a while now, for lack of a better term, let me start by saying that it is a mastermind, but it's different. It's not. And so how this has evolved for me is I was watching a documentary called Inner Worlds, Outer Worlds. And one of the interesting pieces about this is it talks a lot about how the beginning of our universe was based on vibrational frequencies, sound essentially. And that is all anything really is, that it's vibrating, different things vibrating at different frequencies. And that gives mass and everything else. And so what has happened through time is us as a species, the human race, we have taken on more and more thought. We've moved more and more into our mind space which numbs us out. And the way I look at it too, and I think they also cover this in the documentary, is that we do have 6 senses. You've got sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, and thinking. And thinking is one of our senses that we use too much. We're constantly in a thinking realm. And more so as we have evolved through the years. I mean, think about it. There we go, having you think. A couple hundred years ago, we didn't have that much to think about. And people would sit and lay in the grass and look up at the clouds and sit around the house and actually talk or be okay with maybe being bored, God forbid. So we have shifted so much, and part of the challenge with this shift of too much thinking is that we've also lost our connection with the fact that we are all part of the same vibrational energy. And so the mastermind that I've been thinking of creating is based more on bees. And bees are of a hive mind, and they vibrate on the same frequency that communicates and raises and elevates their entire hive, I guess, or what do you call a whole bunch of bees together?
Colony?
A colony. There you go. It evolves a whole colony. And so the structure that I wanted to create, which makes it different from a mastermind, is it's not like a group of people that are coming together to learn the latest new techniques. As a matter of fact, it's kind of the reverse of thinking. It really will be a group where we come together. And right now it's in the early development stage of this, but we're looking at probably doing 2 calls a month. And one of those calls each month will be for us to tap in together as a group and go deep into meditation, relaxation, and raising our vibrational frequency, both individually and as a group, kind of like the hive mind mentality. And then the other call of the month would be where we would host a guest expert to come in and talk about a certain modality that they specialize in that helps one to raise your vibrational frequency. Now, I know my show has a lot of woo-woo on Constantly Speaking, but before we get too much out there for someone else who may be going, what are you talking about, all this vibrational frequency stuff? You felt it before. Have you not ever gone into a room or into a space and felt the energy of it and just felt like, whoa, this does not feel right, or this doesn't feel good to me? So JJ, talk a little bit about that.
About that everything is energy?
Yeah.
Everything is energy. And whether you are aware of it or not, you are interpreting at a certain frequency. And depending on where your frequency is, those are the things that you put yourself in alignment with and that you notice. So say you're looking at an event, let's say something happened and there's a police report and there's 20 eyewitnesses. If you read all those 20 eyewitnesses, you're going to get 20 different reports about what happened. And it's not because someone got it wrong. It's because someone was on a different frequency, noticing and interpreting at a different level. And this happens all day long everywhere. We're all in different worlds at any given time, only utilizing our own sort of predisposition, our beliefs, our what's happened to us, how we see the world, and then what we practice, and that's how we move about the world. We are at a frequency, and one of the things that you want to do with the hive is to have us sort of collectively clean up and elevate our frequencies into places, which I deal with law of attraction. My show, Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, is literally all about law of attraction and about getting into alignment with that which you seek. But first, understanding that the only reason why you want anything that you want, anything, money, a relationship, time, freedom, the only reason you want any of it is because you think you'll feel better when you have it. So if we take that understanding and recognize that we can have that end result right now without needing any of the physical manifestations to actually occur, you can actually bypass that and quickly get to what you want, which is ultimately what you really want. And so getting into that frequency, and it isn't really about the stuff. I mean, how many people do we know, millionaires who always crash and burn and have drug addictions and suicides and multiple divorces and are seriously so unhappy, and they say, and you're like, but they have everything they could want, right? But it doesn't give them the happiness they're seeking. And so not to say that having money is not fun and awesome and amazing, but it doesn't do what you think it's going to do for you. It can provide some freedoms and flexibility, but it isn't going to ultimately provide you the frequency at which you align with happiness or love or freedom or joy. So when it's actually extremely scientific, it's physics, because everyone understands the frequencies of a television and a radio. And that if you're on 102.7 FM, you cannot hear what is on 96.3. You have to change your frequency to align with what is being played on 96.3 to hear it and receive it through your receiver. So, and it's like electricity, right? It's like, we are the conduit for this frequency. We are the manifestations of the frequency. It's like you wouldn't go, there's a toaster and there's electricity. And we're the toaster, but we're plugging into a frequency, which is electricity. You wouldn't expect the electricity to toast without the toaster. Right. So we have to be the conduit for and the embodiment and the interpretation of and how we facilitate energy and frequency. And it's really just the difference between being in alignment, being in a place, in a frequency that is really providing you the kind of life and experience that you want. I had a friend once who she had a robbery in her house. And, I never want anyone to feel victimized in any way. But what I understood about her very, very quickly, I already knew this about her, but while you would say, well, she didn't ask to be robbed. No, but she was always in victim mentality. She was always overlooking her shoulder, not trusting life, not trusting anyone. So she was in the same frequency as someone who would rob somebody. So this is what ends up happening. It's like we have to take our power back and say, how did I attract this? And your frequency is how you put yourself into alignment with different things. Sometimes those contrasting moments are there to propel you forward into a different place. They're teaching. They're a segue or a bridge. And sometimes they're evidence to tell you, hey, you have to change, you keep getting the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's time to take a look at your frequency. So we really want to deal with energy on a couple different levels, but it's all very, very scientific. And, I worked with David Bayer. Remember David from New Media Summit? Yep. And David's got a very successful coaching business. And when he presented at New Media Summit, he started out by saying, this is not spirituality. This is not law of attraction. This is not woo-woo. He said, it's a brain technology. And I was like, okay, cool. He's going to teach us about a brain technology. And then as he went through and used, I'm sure things Bruce Lipton has used to prove the biology of belief, or other people have used maybe what the bleep, all the science and evidence that they have linked to meditation and frequency in the brain and health and all the different, there's plenty of proof out there. I'm just not the person who's searching for it so I can take the naysayer and make them into a believer. I want to take the person who's on the edge, knowing that there's something else out there who just needs to resonate with this message and goes, oh, okay. But if you're someone who is on that edge, but what I'm saying still doesn't really help, you can go look at David's work, mindhackprogram.com/JJ. He's got some videos up and he explains it's all law of attraction. Everything he explained in the Media Summit. As he was going through it, I'm like, that's law of attraction. That's law of attraction. That's law of attraction. So I approached him to say, hey, I'd like to have you on my show. I don't know if we're going to argue or if we're going to agree, because everything you just presented, while you said it wasn't law of attraction, is law of attraction. But of course, he's a very smart businessman, and he knew that coming into a room full of business owners, that spirituality wasn't going to fly. So he packaged it the way he does, which works very well for lots of people, especially men, for them to see a science in, again, what some people want to call spirituality or being woo-woo. We just want to help bring this collective consciousness, which is an energy, it is a frequency, into greater form. And we want to connect people on a more meaningful level that can actually make shifts in your life, not just add on more things to have anxiety about or put an over to-do list together for.
Yeah. And so the second call of each month, we will bring in a guest expert who specializes in a particular modality that helps to facilitate the raising of your frequency or your awareness of your frequency or different elements that are all based on kind of the same idea of how are we vibrating? What frequency are we at that is creating the life that we have, and where would we like it to be, and how can we do things? So we may bring in someone who's a specialist in Tibetan singing bowls, or someone who specializes in some of the stuff. Well, JJ, yourself, you have some areas that you specialize in that, and it also sounded like something that Lisa would probably.
Oh yeah, I could tons of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one call a month, we'll bring in a guest expert who will help to share some insights on ways that you can raise your personal frequency. And then, like I said, the other call, we will actually go deep into a meditation and a connection and raise the frequency ourselves and the communal frequency of the group. And we're looking at setting this up kind of like a membership type of a deal where you're in it on a month-to-month basis. And you hopefully will commit to a long term, because it's not the type of thing that you'll see I mean, you might see immediate results, but ultimately I think this is something that you will get better and better at over time and see more and more benefits from it.
I run a free 30-day manifestation challenge. And in 30 days, I see a lot of change using law of attraction practices. We could add some of those into this for people who are looking for, evidence and change in a more tangible, measurable way. It's something that, though, when most people go through my manifestation challenge, at the end of it, they realize that the feeling is a manifestation. An idea is a manifestation. Clarity is a manifestation. And in fact, an idea has to happen before, first it's a thought before it's a thing. So if you can't have the thought, you won't have the thing. And recognizing that you don't have to have the car to feel the joy and freedom and excitement of the idea of the car. So anyway, I'm just letting you know that as we work this out, we have lots of tools to pull from and to add into it that can satisfy sort of a broader range of what you're looking for. But I think the synergistic idea is that we all want to raise our frequency, not only for our own lives, but for the planet.
Yeah, and we will create a Facebook group in which you can share and communicate with other members of the Hive community, and also put forth stuff that maybe if you've got an issue that you want to put out into the field, into the energetic field that can be healed and dealt with and taken care of in some way. That's certainly going to be a piece of it. And so this will grow and evolve. And so right now we're looking for what I would call founding members. And keep an eye out. We'll be putting up a link at some point in the very near future where you can go to sign up. If this sounds like something that you're interested in trying out, you'll be able to try out your first month for just $1. See if this is something that resonates with you and that is up your alley and is a good fit. And if you're a good fit for us. And then beyond that, we're going to have a special founders rate, which we don't know what that is yet. So we'll let you know more in the future as well, or you'll be able to see it on the link on the website. But if this resonates with you at all, and if you have some thoughts and ideas about it for now, I would love it if you would give us some feedback. Either go to the website, michaelneeley.com. I just had a comment, by the way, from other people who've gone there. They're like, well, where can I put comments on an episode? Well, when you first go to michaelneeley.com, you'll see all of the episodes scrolling down the page. But while it looks like it's the entire episode, you have to actually click on the episode title, which will take you into the full setup where you can make a comment below that, because that is the page for the individual episode as opposed to all of them. So go there, leave a message, let us know your thoughts about it, or go to the Facebook group, Consciously Speaking in Facebook. Just look it up, and you can put a comment in there as well, because we'd love to get your feedback. And if you're interested, just drop us a little line that says, I'm in, and with your email or some way for us to reach out to you, and we'll be sure to keep you posted on how this is going to evolve.
One of the reasons I think that this is a timely idea and needed for people is as we move into this 2019 year, I think a lot of people have had enough shifts, enough transition, enough ideas, enough heartache, enough movement that what I think most of us recognize, especially in a conscious space, that we need more of is community. And so the Hive mentality being that support system, especially, when we need that person or that group to not only hold us accountable in like a business way or in a getting things done kind of way, but we need them to hold a space for our consciousness and a space for our growth and our expansion. And there aren't too many people, unless if you're a member of a church, of something like, so Doug and I go to Agape, and we go at this point like about once a month, but we're not necessarily like huge, like we don't go every week, and we're not necessarily involved in other things in that church, especially since they just moved. But we do have a few of our podcaster friends, Debbie and Amy and Marjorie and Debbie Dashinger. So like a bunch of us go together. Like we've created a little community ourselves to go at least once a month to Agape, go to a church service where we're doing meditation. It's very law of attraction based. It's very conscious evolution. And then we go have bottomless mimosas, and a great brunch. But again, it's that community. It's that space. And so if you're feeling on the other end of this recording, and however you're getting your podcast, if you're listening to us while you're driving or if you're walking and you feel like alone or you feel like people aren't there to support you, that's another reason why I will continue to do events. They will change, they will grow, they will adapt to the needs of everyone involved and to the effect of how we're using them. and I've got different price points for my events as well, but I think we, in today's day and age, need more connection. We need more real, in-person, on Zoom, in like watching on video more than just audio, to be able to see and to acknowledge and to, again, bear witness to and hold space for each other in a new way that's not so, disconnected from in business or just in life. So if it speaks to you, definitely be in touch and let us know that you're interested in the unfolding of what this is going to be.
Yeah. And I will try to, depending on when this episode actually goes live, if I can have an information page set up for you to go to, I'll have that link in the show notes. So look for that in the show notes or at michaelneeley.com. And maybe even at your site, JJ?
Yeah, jjflizanes.com. So jjflizanes.com. I've got a contact page, which you fill out and send me an email through that page. But all my events, so I got free stuff on that page. And you know what? It would be, even if you just reach out to us, like Michael said, and give us a note about if this speaks to you, and maybe you have an idea about how you would like it delivered.
Yeah.
We want to know, we want to create conscious community to make real change, both for us, personally as well as on the planet. But we want it to be in alignment, and we want it to be in response to what you as a community also want and need. But we won't know that unless you're sort of talking to us. So please make sure to write back, write to one of us. Find us on Facebook, if nothing else, or Instagram. A lot of my fans write to me through Instagram and let us know your thoughts about this Hive program.
Yeah, because we'd love to have you be a part of it, and just not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the planet, and for really raising the vibrational frequency, starting with our country, and then let that waft out into the world, because this planet needs it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to this, tuning in today about the Hive year-long membership program. And, JJ has something else to say?
Yeah, you didn't have to stop dead in your tracks.
That's okay.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say, for those of you that, are listening to the show and you're like, okay, what else do I have for content for me? Anything that we can think about or take away. One of the reasons why we're wanting to put both these events and ideas out, if you're on a trajectory and a momentum that is working for you, my goodness, keep going. Do what you're doing, continue to follow your impulse and your intuition, and continue to, walk that path if you've chosen to really take on self-mastery. However, if you're listening to this and you're still searching, you're listening to this in 2018, didn't go well for you. You're listening and you do want change and you do want something to shift in your life. This is the time, but because we're offering you ways in which to get momentum going in order for you, and it may not be my program or the Hive or Michael, it may be somebody that you met yesterday out somewhere who really resonated with you, but take action. Put your money where your mouth is and trust that you have to get out of your comfort zone in order for things to change. So you can't stay doing the same thing over and over again. You know the definition of insanity. So you leverage today, leverage this month, leverage this message if it's hitting you in the right place, to take action on something that's important to you. Reach out for help, to get out of your comfort zone and make that investment in your life and in yourself.
No, thank you, JJ. That was a perfect, I couldn't have finished it off better myself. So I appreciate that.